been involved in these problems since about 2005, starting with problems up in the New Mexico area of the Valle Vidal. And then when it came home to roost in Fort Worth, I became very involved there. I've been involved ever since. I am a member of the board of the North Central Texas Communities Alliance. And I'm not going to go into great detail about where I stand and what my attitudes are. But I think Tim Ruggiero expressed it very well. Jim Ashford as well. Both of them are in our organization. And I represent people like that. We are not stakeholders in the sense that all of the government publications talk about. Yet we're lumped in together with people who are making money out of this. Basically, we stand to lose something. They stand to gain something or not. We're on the losing end of the game. I would like to just tell you one little anecdotal situation that I think typifies what's going on in our country. The things that we should be looking at, we're not looking at it. As a matter of fact, industry is suppressing it. It's like the tobacco industry was doing before. This is the same thing with the oil and gas industry. I just want to tell you this one little incident. I had lunch the other day with a friend of mine who graduated from high school at the same time I did, in 1955. His son was with us. He graduated from high school 20 years ago in New Orleans. And he was telling us, and this, we weren't talking about this problem or anything. He was telling us that he was trying on a committee to try to put together a 20-year high school reunion of his folks. And everyone on the committee was shocked to find out that they couldn't put together more than about a third of the people who had graduated. And the reason was they had all died of cancer. They had put together 3 different classes of people to have a reunion because they didn't have enough people to do it. But that fellow lives in what is called Cancer Alley. And you can Google that and you will find that it's caused by primarily the petrochemical industry, petroleum, gas, and petrochemicals. So I had never heard of this, and I don't know how many people here have ever heard of it, but we're having the same kind of thing going on here. Right now in Flower Mound, there is a cancer cluster, a leukemia cancer cluster. And we heard when we were talking about the fracking thing, or maybe it was something else, but it was an EPA hearing. Folks came up from down along the I-45 corridor, and they talked about the cancer that they got down there because of the coal-fired electrical plants. All that stuff is suppressed. We rarely ever hear about it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I do have some suggestions for you, which I noticed that a lot of the people in industry didn't have. Instead, they wanted to give you propaganda. I want to suggest to you that you require that all gas wells and their associated storage and processing equipment be required to have no vents to the atmosphere. Vapor recovery units must be required. I'd ask that you require gas rail operators to pay for independent periodic analysis of their wellhead production stream and require publication thereof. I'd ask that the drillers be required to publish a complete list of all the ingredients in their fracking fluid because these ingredients are produced with the gas. I would ask that a limit be posed on the number of potential sources of gas production emissions per square mile for the sake of public safety. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you very much. My name is Alisa Bridge. I'm with Lobdill Environmental, and I applaud your efforts in Midlothian. It has been long overdue, and I'm not here to talk about that today, but thank you for taking the initiative, and thank you for having a backbone to do something about that situation. EPA is directed under the Urban Air Toxic Program to oversee states and require them to assess local air quality data to identify urban areas where air toxic emissions need to be reduced and take care of the health effects regarding them. In June 2010, TCEQ held a public meeting in Arlington in this very building to discuss the strategy that they have done to reduce the toxic air pollutants, and not one of the recommendations included reduction of emissions from natural gas operations. Many of these were HAPs that are listed on your 188 list, and according to the chief engineer of TCEQ, and I quote, "We're not here to discuss natural gas. We're here to discuss ozone." Obviously, they still haven't figured out the formula for producing ozone. Next. This slide is from industry, and what I wanted to show you quickly here is that the latest Barnett Shale well completion on the bottom is a 12-stage process now. Each of those stages typically have 18,000 barrels of water associated with the 12-stage. It is not a closed casing 12-stage, and if you calculate it, it's 9.5 million gallons. What goes down must come up, and that is what we're seeing. Next. Of the 13,000 wells that they're proudly talking about completing so far, next we have several different potential emissions. They are the pad sites, which have off-road vehicle, particulate matter, etc., the drilling processes, fracking process, and of course the completion. Next. I call these the triple threat. We have methane, we have BTEX, and we have hydrogen sulfide compounds that break down to compounds that are carcinogenic, known carcinogens, and neurotoxins. This is TCEQ's latest ESL. In 2008, benzene was increased from 75 micrograms per cubic meter, 25 ppm, to 54, 136% increase. And yet, benzene is a known carcinogen. In 2008, I wondered what was going on. Next. TCEQ's ESL increased in 2008, once again, carbonyl sulfide. Carbonyl sulfide is a product of emissions due to air emissions from natural gas. It was an 1,016% increase. Why would they choose carbonyl sulfide? TCEQ has failed and continues to fail to protect human health and protect the public. Next. Ironically, we talk about reliable, or the industry talks about reliable data, and TCEQ has put up a GC up in Dish, Texas. And I'd like to read you off some quick values that you'll see. First of all, the GC, we did a simultaneous reading on one day in the last month. And our benzene levels were at 2.26, but the GC reader barely measured above 0.70. Toluene was at 25.9. These are all ppb's, by the way. Toluene, according to TCEQ, was 0.64. Ethyl benzene was 4.7. TCEQ's highest was 0.10. Xylene was 11.70. TCEQ's was 0.24. Styrene was 3.58. TCEQ's was 0.03. Xylene was 1.04. TCEQ's was 0.07. 1,3,5-trimethylbenzene was 1.37. TCEQ's was 0.04. And 1,2,4-trimethylbenzene was 1.18. TCEQ's was 0.09. We have a difference of opinion, and the opinion is called science. It's called accurate science versus inaccurate science. It's called politically jaded science versus accurate science. We have no compounds in there that were hydrogen sulfide related, or carbonyl sulfide, or carbon sulfide, or anything else. If you don't look for them, they can't exist. So we continue to talk about methane, next slide, we continue to talk about benzene and all these lovely things that happen, and next slide, And I come back to the history of fencing since 1903, and I wonder why is this not a federally regulated compound at this point? There is no statement that can say benzene is not toxic and not carcinogenic, except for some economists that do declare that it has no relevance to any health issues, except for the fact that we've got numerous children across this area and numerous people across this area that are bearing the costs of industry and inequality in their cancer-related costs. $400 to $1,500 per day in hospital stay for one child. And it takes 30 days, by the way. $1,500 to $2,000 per day for cancer treatments. $20,000 for a spinal tap. It takes 12 for one child to go through the procedure. That doesn't account for the pain. That doesn't account for the loss of that child's life in the future. There's a 30% mortality rate for many of the cancer treatments. So, what burdens and costs to the general public are we talking about? And what burdens and costs are the industry talking about? I do not see an equality here. I see a graphic inequality that has occurred over the many years previously, and I would encourage you to take over where TCQ has refused and where the Railroad Commission has refused for the future of our children and for the future of the state. I am a mineral right owner. I own minerals, and I will donate every penny I have to the children in the Flower Mound area that are bearing the unequal costs of this situation. They didn't ask for it. I would gladly give my mineral rights back if somebody would just stop.